Welcome back to the Immortals Cup. We now have a game in Group B, which is the group with the tournament organizers in it. And we're going to look at a match between the QsQuids and the Spiderpigs. And obviously the first game is on Crazy Rush, which is as about an unusual a map as it can possibly get. And let's just go straight into the game. In the top section of the map, as the Blue Cybern and the Yellow Seraphim, we have the QsQuids, Income, and Renzilla. Looks like I'm getting some sort of weird lag, but I expect that to clear itself up. In the bottom, we have the Spiderpigs, both going UEF. We have Kosher and Voodoo, always a formidable challenge to anyone. But of course, on this map, anything is possible, and Income and Renzilla are very good. Income and Renzilla still are not doing so well. They need to find a win against the Spiderpigs if they want to have any success in this tournament. So we'll see how they can go about accomplishing this. So Renzilla is just going to go on a massive power spam, and so is Income. Both players doing very similar builds. We'll see what Kosher and Voodoo have. Looks like they are doing similar things. They send their first energies to make power, and they just grab the mass extractors. And good early Celine from Income. It's going to spot any raids that come down. Renzilla is also doing some good work here. So one of the advantages of playing later in the tournament is that you can see what mistakes other people have made. You can try to avoid them. For example, putting these early scouts out to spot anything. Here's a nice wall placement from Renzilla. Try to narrow the battlefield. You can see just how many land factories Voodoo has planned. I'm not even going to bother to count it, because the number will be pretty meaningless when you think about how many there are. Kosher is going with a much more moderate build, but you can see he is also going to make a ridiculous amount of land factories now. He's just going to pile them up. And Renzilla is putting up a suitable number of walls to try to stop this flow of Armageddon. Kosher is just going to try to get his engineers out as quickly as he possibly can. Looks like they've both done this, so looks like both teams have spent a lot of time calculating the perfect build for this map, which is extremely important on a map like this where you have infinitely many mass extractors. And I've got some news from the tournament directors, and that actually quite a few of the round 3 matches have not been played, so the time has been extended till Friday. So the whole tournament will actually take a week longer, since we will not see the maps for the quarterfinals for another week or so. So the players involved in the quarterfinals already, such as myself and the other qualified teams, can take a break from training. And we can just relax a little bit. And you can see how many walls Renzilla is making. This is ridiculous. So Renzilla not going to make nearly as many land factories as Voodoo and Kosher, but he is going to be spamming a lot of walls to try and somehow compensate. But I'm not sure there's anything you can do against a force when there's so many land factories that are going to go up in the near future. You can see a lot of engineers for Kosher are going to be working on this, so each land factory is going to go up in a matter of seconds. Voodoo doing a very similar thing. So Voodoo and Kosher so far have played this game almost identically. The only difference might be that Voodoo already has Tech 2, looks like Kosher. Actually, Kosher has Tech 2, there is no difference. It's ridiculously similar. Income and Renzilla are not making as many units as they probably should be. Of course, Renzilla did try to get his walls up, but Income is not trying to do that, so he needs to get a lot of land factories up very soon. He's going Tech 2, so that could help him out. But I expect Voodoo to come in with a lot of point defense, as well as this huge torrent of units. But for the moment, it looks like Income has more units and he's got better positioning, attacking from both sides. But this is a positional mistake, I think. The only reason he did so well is because Voodoo did not move his units enough. Looks like Renzilla will try to get this. It's not necessary to expand on this map for a very long time, since you have an unlimited amount of mass back at your main base. The only reason to expand is if you run out of space, which is a definite possibility, of course. Now, Renzilla has made an air factory with some scouts. And Kosher is going to get some more power as well as some TMD. This is an interesting placement for it, because UEF TMD is just shit, and back here it's not going to protect much. Income is also making TMD, but this is much more logically placed to prevent any tactical missiles from hitting his mass extractors, which are all valuable. Now, a big engagement happening between Kosher and Renzilla. And looks like Kosher has way more units. Renzilla does have Tech 2 point defense to try to compensate. But just look at the factory count from Income. No, I just said the wrong two players. From Voodoo and Kosher. Just look at how many factories they have. It's unbelievable. Only on Crazy Rush will you see something like this at minute 8. Voodoo is now just getting his air factory, and he's going to Tech 3. And so we might see Ravagers very soon from Voodoo. He's got 2 Tech 2 power, which is about what you need to start a Ravager creep. You can see just how many mask sectors there are. It's unbelievable. Here comes Voodoo's ACU. Does Income have anything to deal with it? He is going Tech 3 land. That could potentially give him something. But he needs to think about some counterpoint defense as well, because Renzilla and Income don't have UEF, and that could be a very big disadvantage for them. And now Renzilla has planned a bug. A bug is a very expensive unit, but we've actually seen it used to great effect on this map. Crazed Chariot against Eisen and Arma, which is a game that someone needs to cast. I might do it myself after I cast this. Here comes Renzilla with a massive round of scouting. He will have seen the Ravagers going up, so Income knows what he's up against. Scouts continue to fly for Renzilla. It looks like he got everything, so he saw pretty much the entire map. And now another big engagement. Looks like Kosher once again with way more units, but I don't think he's going to be able to break the defensive line of Renzilla. He's got a whole bunch of point defense here, which will stop anything. It's actually a pretty spectacular view of the battlefield. I just saw some bricks from Renzilla. Here they are. He says, ooh. That's because this is really painful. The UEF bombers dropping bombs on Tech 1 mass extractors, and if you can annihilate enough of them, that's very painful because not a lot of these will have been teched. You can see this has to be something like 50 flak that's just been spammed up by Renzilla in just a few seconds. But the bombers went off map, and now they're coming back to do some more damage. Almost taking out Tech 2 mass extractors there, so Renzilla's got to be careful. And looks like he forgot. Now he switched back to Mendes, but now he has so many flak. Not sure what he can do with that. That definitely set him back in terms of units. So Kosher might take advantage of the fact that he has way more direct fire units now. God damn it. I'm not gonna stop it, but I will slow it down since I don't want to miss anything. You've got to be crapping me. I mean, that was fucking ridiculous. That was a phone call that started with, "Hello, America. This is Bill Clinton." Actually, it said, "Hello, Pennsylvania. This is Bill Clinton calling for whatever other bullshit the American presidents want to throw at us." So, I'm not going to take much of that. Speeding it back up to +2. And the reason I didn't stop the video is because I don't want to have audio problems. I did when I tried to cast a tag team versus Pink Paranoia. I had some audio problems that I had to fix. Don't want any of that. And looks like Voodoo very soon is going to be able to run Income over. He's got way more units. And together with Kosher's enormous force, they might just completely destroy everything. Plus Voodoo has Tech 3 point defense to back himself up, so with the range on those, and the battle is starting to lag a lot. I might have to bring it down to normal speed just so we can watch this without having it be a slideshow. You can see how many units there are. Let's look at the unit cap. Kosher with 807 units. Voodoo with 636. There's 340 and 462. So Voodoo alone has more units. Kosher alone has more units than Income and Renzilla combined. We see some TAC missiles flying though to hit Kosher's base. He just took out the Tech 3 production. That's a big hit to take. And this is ridiculous. I'm running at 3 frames per second. Absolutely ridiculous battle going on, but they are about to get their bug up, and I don't think that Kosher and Voodoo have anything to stop it. It's just going to go on a rampage. I might actually slow this down so we can see this in a semi-normal view. Although now it's going a little bit too slowly. Maybe -2 will be good. And Voodoo is going to be helpless here against the bug. There's plenty of Tech 2 flak, but the bug, if it focuses on Voodoo's ACU, it will get will kill it because it still has 70k HP. And we could see Voodoo go down here, and if that happens, then the QsQuids will have a massive advantage, and this could actually be close, although Voodoo is losing health way too quickly. The bug's still at still gaining veterancy. It's up to like 84 kills. Voodoo is going to die, and all his units are going to disappear. So great work by the QsQuids. They just got an ACU kill. Now the Spiderpigs are throwing everything they possibly can at the bug to try to kill it. But a 15-minute bug has managed to destroy Voodoo. And it could kill Kosher if it finds him. There's way too much Tech 1 flak though now. I don't expect the bug to be able to attack Kosher's ACU. But still great work, and you can see how many units just went down. Kosher's got to get to reclaiming that as soon as he possibly can. And suddenly Kosher finds himself alone with a bug destroying his completely destroying his base. He's got almost no income now. He won't be able to produce nearly as many units. He's got to get on this reclaim. And the bug with still over 100k HP, this is why veterancy is so overpowered. It can still probably destroy everything. And you can see just how much is being focused on it, and it's not losing any health at all. Now it can go after the power. So Renzilla with an awesome bug. Kosher is making progress against him though with the Ravagers. And he's still got quite a bit of income coming from this expansion base. But just look at the damage this thing has done. 393 kills, 99. We could see 400 kills on this one unit. This is undoubtedly the MVP of the game. I'd like to see how many kills it gets before, if it's destroyed. I don't think it can go after Kosher though. There's plenty of Tech 3 AA. Now up to 452 kills. And income is containing Kosher with a bunch of Tech 3 siege tanks. And as long as the QsQuids play this right, they should be able to get the victory because Kosher doesn't look like he's in good shape right now. And even though these will get surrounded, there's 63 kills, 74 kills. So this is an amazing example of tech versus spam. And now it's going to be a question of will this... Whoa. Kosher must have just gotten sniped there by artillery or some missiles. And the QsQuids, just like they did against GG No Re, are able to take the first game against two of the best players in the tournament. But we'll see how they can hold up in the 1v1, so we'll take a look at those. But for now, the QsQuids are 1-0 ahead, and we'll see who they choose for the first matchup. And here we go with the first 1v1 of this series. And the two players that have been chosen are Voodoo and Income. So an interesting choice by the QsQuids. I'm not sure if... actually, no. Forget about that. It's actually the Spiderpigs who chose because QsQuids won the first one. In any case, in the top right spawning position, as the Red Seraphim going with a crazy build, it is Income, currently 1-0 ahead. In the bottom, 1-0 down, under pressure to win this, the yellow UEF, it is Voodoo, who has to beat Income in order to keep his team in the series. Right now the QsQuids are on course for a very important win. If Income can pull this off, then he will be able to secure a point, a much needed point you could say, for the QsQuids. So Voodoo going first land, second air. About as characteristic of a player as you can get. And Income, not clear what his second factory is going to be. Looks like Voodoo with an early scout. And he's looking to see what Income's second factory will be, but he runs into the ACU, so he's not going to get any information whatsoever. And Income is going to go second land. Looks like he's using 2 NGs to expand, and he's going to get the Hydro. And he's got a good force here moving down. And it's a question of will Voodoo keep these here, or will they move out of the way in time for Income's units to get through. At the moment, this is going to be tricky. if Voodoo runs past, his radar will spot, so by now he definitely knows that he's going to have to move his units back. And Income realizes what's going on. He's able to kill the scout with his scout, and suddenly he needs to avoid Voodoo's unit. But so Income, although originally he looked like he might do some good work, he gets surrounded 3v1 and loses. Now Voodoo coming out with his bomber. Income is going 3 land factories, no air so far, so this bomber could hurt. By now he's seen it, and we'll see how soon flak starts coming out. He's starting to produce it now. Of course, Voodoo. Unfortunately, he hits the ACU with the first bomb. He's going to have to run for his life. He's got an interceptor to follow it up. Now these 2 NGs could be very vulnerable against the bomber. 1 NG will fall. Will he get the second one is the question, or will Income be able to dodge? I don't think it matters too much because Income is still not bothering to make any air. He's going with 4 land factories. So very heavy land from Income. Looks like the bomber wasn't paying attention, so it doesn't actually kill the NG. Now it might run into some flak. Oh. The NG escapes. So a great play from Income. Manages to defend it. Might actually get the interceptor as well. 87 HP. Close call for the interceptor, but now it's coming back. Could get shot again. He does lose the interceptor as well, so Income's anti-air does a great job, but he's going to lose the expansion here at minute 6. Voodoo is rolling out towards the middle, and pretty similar to last game, we just see land factory after land factory is going to be piled up for Voodoo. He's just going to build land factories everywhere. But Income is, oh jeez, just like 10 seconds late with those units. Just 10 seconds earlier they could have done some real damage, but now they are going to park right outside and they are going to get the mass extractor, so good work there. But they will not be able to push in because of the point defense. He could probably go around it, but now this, he is still raiding through the top, so Income's still doing some good raiding. He needs to actually stay and finish off the extractor though, and there he is. So Income is definitely paying attention. At the same time, he's going to lose his back expansion. He needs to move this NG out of the way, but I think by now it's too late. It will get destroyed. And he's actually managed to save these tanks, and he could get the NG here if he just moves in. It looks like he will get it anyway. So Income with more good rating. Denies the point defense, so a waste of about 200 mass for Voodoo. And he's still taking more losses to Income's raiders. But he did do some good raiding on his own. But Income, this radar is still alive, so he knows exactly where the units are. He knows that they're not going anywhere. He knows how to react to them. So Income actually looks like he's doing better early on. Still not bothering to make any air, but I guess that's okay. Still raiding. I mean, Income is doing very well. This could be the first mistake in control, though. He will lose his tanks to the point defense, finally get something to shoot at. But in fact, these tanks could keep pushing, and if he gets a single scouting unit in there, he'll see that he can just attack the engineers. There's a lot of vulnerable engineers here, especially these 4. But he's going to move them to the absolute worst location next to Voodoo's tanks. He might try to unite these 2 forces and make them into a solid force. He is able to retake his back mexes, and he's got an Ulsheva out, so quick tech 2 from Income, playing this extremely well. Voodoo will realize, and he's going to try to react by using his numbers advantage. But Income is still making him pay in the back, destroying mass extractors all over the place. So Voodoo is unable to get his mass extractors taken, and he won't be able to raid. This Ulsheva will do some really good defense, already up to 4 kills, 5 kills. And with a good radar, once again, Income is able to react to Voodoo's force. So Income is looking very good, in fact. I mean, he's playing this very well. He's raiding. He doesn't really have air, but he has Tech 2 flak to defend. He's got Tech 2 land of his own. The only thing that's probably lacking is map control, but that's because neither player has it. Voodoo has been having problems taking his mass extractors all game, and at the same time he's trying to raid Income, but Income has been playing good defense this whole time. So he's not letting Voodoo's units get through, so that's a good way. That's the sign that he's playing well, is that he's defending so well against Voodoo. So One mistake you could say Income has made is he just let Voodoo take the middle. And if we look at Reclaim, Voodoo's at 12,000, Income's at 48. There's a pretty big difference between 13,000 and 48. Now Voodoo, with a mistaken control, lets his planes fly over some Tech 2 flak. He's very lucky not to lose those all. They're all in the red now. And now more mistakes, and it might come back for another shot over the Tech 2 flak. He just lost a bunch there. He's going to lose them all if he just keeps patrolling. Now flies them straight back over. That is a very unfortunate end to those interceptors. But in any case, Voodoo has a really big reclaim advantage because he's gotten this forest and all the rocks involved with that. So if you don't take the middle quick, you're in big trouble. And Voodoo, despite losing all his mass extractors, has been able to come back and stay in the game and actually have more units because of that reclaim advantage. You see he's got 2 factories producing energies because he needs a lot of build capacity in order to use all his mass. So even though Income played very well, he didn't take the middle, and now Voodoo's got way more units than he does, and I think Voodoo has enough to simply crush his base. I don't think there's anything Income can do because he doesn't have any of his expansions up and running. He's got these 2 mass extractors, but that's not nearly enough. And I think Voodoo has a surround on his base, and he might just be able to crush him outright. Income calls it GG. Voodoo is going to be able to even out the series. And now it's seriously going to be up to Kosher and Renzilla. Both teams could use a point, but the QsQuids are now under extremely bad pressure. At first it looked like Income might be able to do it against Voodoo, but in the end it was a little bit too much spam from Voodoo. There's no shame in it, of course. I mean, we saw Luzon die to Voodoo on this map, so definitely very hard. But Income played very well. I mean, I can't fault Income's playing. And Voodoo's able to even it out, so we'll see what happens between Kosher and Renzilla. We'll take a look very soon. And here we go, the 3rd game in the series between Kosher and Renzilla. This is the series between the QsQuids and the Spiderpigs. And pressure is on both players here. The Spiderpigs need a point if they are to have a good chance of escaping from the group. The QsQuids need a point if they want to stay alive. And so it's a UEF versus UEF here, a mirror matchup on 2 hills 4v4. In the top, with an incredible move in the first game to win the game for the QsQuids is Renzilla. And now has to beat Kosher. Kosher, who has only played once so far in the series and did very well, but eventually lost to Renzilla in the 2v2, is now under pressure to beat him, and he's going second air. Renzilla is just going to make a lot of power after going first land. So we'll see how these players do in the UEF on UEF affair. Looks like both, actually, Renzilla Scout did a little bit better in that engagement, but Renzilla spreading his scouts out to get intelligence about where Kosher is going. Kosher has got a mech marine going around, but the scout will be able to spot it. That's the first kill of the game right there. It goes to Renzilla's ACU. And Kosher is trying to be sneaky. This is a very important moment of the game, is whether or not Renzilla will see the mech marine. And he sees that there is something there, and he instantly moves his mech marines to respond. So good work from Renzilla. Kosher will not be able to raid with this mech marine anytime soon. It will get intercepted and destroyed. So great play from Renzilla there. Forces Kosher to waste whatever massive mech marine costs, which is not important at all. Kosher now forcing a bomber out with his ACU. You can see how fast it started to build after he started assisting it. The bomber is now in the air, but it's just going to sit there. He needs to get that flying towards Renzilla as soon as possible. Indeed, it is flying out. But Renzilla with an interceptor. But it's not... if he just kept that flying towards Kosher's base, he would see the bomber. Now the interceptor might be going after the scout. And now... so Renzilla, I thought that if he had kept his interceptor going, he might have destroyed the bomber. That would have been a very big loss for Kosher, because you saw how much he invested into it. I mean, forcing it out with his ACU. Looks like Renzilla has finally found it. He just needs to pay attention to kill it, and he has targeted it. But it might get the bomb off here, and that would be very critical. 2 NGs lost, so 3 kills for that bomber, definitely worthwhile. And now a dogfight between 2 interceptors. It looks like Kosher had the better of. Looked like he was microing there. Renzilla's interceptor was a veteran. It was regenerating health, but Kosher is able to take early air control, which may or may not have significance. But Renzilla with scouting, he's going to see everything. So that's one thing Renzilla has been good at throughout the tournament. He's very good with making sure he knows what his opponent is doing. And Renzilla is not making the same mistake that Income did. He is getting a presence in the middle with land factors to see, because we saw that with Voodoo and Income had complete control of the map, and he was denying Voodoo's expansion, but Voodoo was able to extract 13,000 more mass from the middle, because there's a deceptively large amount of mass, because you can see all these little rocks. They're not that visible. You might think that the trees are all that's there, but there's actually a lot of mass in the middle. So definitely not something to be neglected. And neither player is making that mistake, so we could potentially see a much more exciting game if and here we have some good stuff from Renzilla raiding Kosher's expansion. And now Renzilla is just going to make sure that Kosher isn't coming down here. These are one of the most important locations on the map. These are the same rocks as you'll find on DeRosa's, so huge amount of mass in just these, and then there's a bunch of bigger rocks as well. Looks like Renzilla is moving in that direction with an NG. Now Renzilla is getting Tech 2 on his ACU. He needs to respond to Kosher's force, though. It looks like he has enough units to do so. Or maybe not. He didn't come in at the best of angles. Kosher just rolled through. But with so close to Renzilla's production, there's not going to be much Kosher can do with this force. I mean, unless it gets a few shots on the power or something. But he's also in the back, so Kosher is raiding Renzilla everywhere. You can see how much farther Kosher is with expanding his economy than Renzilla. That could be very critical, because the last thing you want to do is give a player like Kosher an advantage in map control. Now force has been separated from Kosher's main force. Plenty of arty here. It's going to be rolling around the map. It might run into Renzilla's force here, but this is not enough to defend against that force. You can see both players are doing a good job of reclaiming, so let's take a look at that. Renzilla up to 6,400, Kosher at 4,800, so even though Kosher has the map control advantage, Renzilla has the reclamation advantage. He could have gotten a lot more if he had been giving those orders. But Kosher is going to take even more map control for himself. So Renzilla is going to have to make his reclamation advantage count. He does have some Tech 2 point defense. And Kosher is going to react immediately. He knows he doesn't have it himself, so he's just going to move his entire force around and try to get him from behind. This is a big engineer slaughter here. Looks like a whole bunch of units from Renzilla just being piled up in the back. He might seriously want to have those at the front, where they might actually have done something useful. So Kosher is being pushed back by an inferior force. Here's a big engagement. Kosher might take a lot of casualties here, even though I expect him to win the battle. He might lose a few units. Plenty of reinforcements coming down from Renzilla, but once again, positioning on the units is so important. The way that the units are engaged in the battle. But here's a huge force from Renzilla. This could be a very, very good move from him, because Kosher doesn't have anything in that area to defend, and this is a lot of units. I mean, Renzilla is going to be able to raid in the back already. He's going to follow this up with a crushing blow, and he will be able to defend. Oh my god, another phone call, are you serious? If this is the president again, I'm going to get mad. Hello? Oh, can I call you back in a little bit? Well, at least it wasn't the former president of the United States. So anyway, Renzilla now getting pushed back somehow, because Kosher does have some MMLs, and those are doing quite a bit of damage to his point defense. One might fall very shortly. But this could be a very important move, because if Renzilla destroys all of Kosher's factories, which right now it looks like he can, it's going to be very painful. Looks like Kosher has managed to defend against the force in the back. I expect these point defense had a lot to do with it. You can see 14 kills between them. But Kosher is getting attacked at his main base. He could lose all his power. He could lose a whole bunch of NGs. He's going to lose a lot here. He's going to have to pull all his force back, and it looks like he's getting pushed on the bottom as well. Renzilla playing like a pro here. This is why you never count him out of anything. But if he does not do a lot of damage here, Kosher will have a lot of reclaim. And he certainly doesn't want to just run into the point defense. That's just tragic. These tanks are getting popped. And target firing a point defense with tanks is not a good move. And Renzilla did not do nearly as much damage with that attack as I thought he did, or with the potential that he would have. Still, however, he's doing very well. You can see that he's got map control. He's got this side. And if we look at reclamation, Renzilla at 14,000, Kosher at 11,000. Kosher will probably make up for that with these units that Renzilla has deposited everywhere. But Renzilla still with the reclamation advantage and a slight map control advantage. So Renzilla still very much in the game. He won't be quitting anytime soon. Looks like he's getting the gun at this point. Not sure what he wants the gun for. He's amassing a lot of gunchips now. I don't think he has solid air control. And he's still trying to push, but Kosher with way more units. And the point defenses for Kosher have been very good this whole game. Looks like this one finally was killed by something. Kosher will probably reclaim it in a second. Wow, this NG has 6 health. Looks like despite so many units, these units have managed to sneak through, but Renzilla is not microing them. His attention must be elsewhere. And now Kosher being very sneaky. He's sneaking along the higher ground, and he's going to be attacking the back and at the same time attacking the side. Does Renzilla know about either of these? He doesn't. So one thing Renzilla does not have is decent radar coverage, and he's playing completely in the dark. It looks like he's planning some sort of snipe. It's the only reason to have so many gunships and so few land units. And now they are moving out, and I don't know if he knows where the ACU is, but this location here is almost impossible to snipe with gunships because there's a flak and a shield. Gunships will fall like wheat under a sickle. Now he's using things to TMLs, and they are firing at a phenomenal rate. You can see how many NGs were on it. And now he's going to lose the side completely. But we'll see what he can do with these gunships. Actually, this is an interesting proposition from Renzilla, attacking the back where Kosher doesn't have any flak. He needs to just make sure he can keep air control. Looks like he will finally defend the back, but there's a pillar here with 18 kills. Unbelievable pillar. Now, Kosher might lose a whole bunch of power if Renzilla target fires it. But Renzilla has no interceptors here. So at the base, he should just be destroying engineers. Looks like he is just going to methodically destroy all the power. But Kosher has enough interceptors to basically kill all this. If Renzilla had air control, then he could do a lot more damage, although he will do quite a bit anyway. If he had proper air control, he could destroy every single power generator for Kosher. Here comes some Tech 2 flag to solve the problem. Renzilla will be forced to retreat. But look at this. This is a very good micro from Renzilla. He saves one gunship and brings it around the back to kill the Hydro, and there's nothing Kosher can do about that. So great play from Renzilla. And he's using more gunships to defend up on top where there's no flak whatsoever. So a big mistake from Kosher and a great eye from Renzilla to spot that. So, like I said, that's probably the first bad move he made with the gunships, but they already did their job. Killing the Hydro, killing so much power. Of course, Kosher still has the Tech 2 power, but still, he lost a lot of Tech 1 power there. Now, back to reclaim here at minute 19. Renzilla with 18,000 still. Kosher is about to overtake him, or at least catch up to him. He's not extracting any right now, but definitely very close in reclamation. Kosher will get more from the gunships that have been scattered everywhere. But Renzilla definitely looks like he has enough units. For this force here, he shouldn't waste any units, he should just use the gunchips. There's no reason to lose any land units to this force, because there is no flak whatsoever. And he's still producing more gunships and air and interceptors out of another factory. And Renzilla has paused all his land production. Not sure what his plan is. He must have something going on. And somehow he doesn't have any mass income. What can he possibly be spending so much mass on? Now it looks like he's managed to recover, but I'm not sure where that was coming from. It's probably from him trying to rebuild mass extractors straight to Tech 2. That'll do it. It's still very unusual, and he self-destructed all his factories. Going Tech 3 land, Kosher is suddenly... This is the absolute worst thing that could have happened to Renzilla. Kosher choosing that moment to scout him and realize there's no land factories. Now, once again, Renzilla is going to raid, but it looks like Kosher has too much air, as well as Tech 2 flak. These gunships will all be destroyed. There's no way Renzilla will save them. And there they go. They're all going to get popped from behind. So, nice try by Renzilla, but he's going to lose everything. Kosher needs to reclaim those as soon as he can, and he's already made the move to do that. So Kosher is going to use some flapjacks, which are cool name. It's a cool name for a unit, to first of all overkill a tank and just destroy it into a cinder block on the ground. So first of all, he's going to smash a tank into the pulp, and then he's going to try to move around, and there's no more Tech 2 point defense, so Renzilla needs to get some serious Tech 3 out and needs to get it out fast, because there is a force of Armageddon coming down from Kosher. He needs to pull all these units back to defend, otherwise he's just going to get his base rolled. So Renzilla can do one of two things. He can either try to defend, which is probably the most logical thing. He could have tried to make a counterattack, but it looks like he has some units that he's going to try to do that with. Here's a Titan. It cannot do anything against this force right now with all the pillars. It has a kill, actually, 2 kills, but it's going to get surrounded by pillars and killed. Renzilla is trying to use his ACU. He's getting some overcharges in. Actually, I think Renzilla will be able to defend, because he's got the overcharge capability. He's got Tech 3 and a whole bunch of Tech 1. This counterattack will not be very effective. Lots of units responding from Kosher. Does Kosher have Tech 3 is the question. It looks like he is going Tech 3. But Renzilla has managed to make a good push here with his own Tech 3. He's starting to switch a lot of Engies to that. And going Tech 3 air, this is amazing from Renzilla. She's going all out for the big tech. He's got a very good defensive position in the back with a shield to protect his 4 Tech 2 mass extractors. He needs to get reclaiming with this, or at least make a point defense or do something with it. Speaking of point defense, here's one with 9 kills that's been protecting these mass extractors the whole game. Kosher's still not able to rebuild his Hydra, though. It looks like the gunships are going to be able to clean up. Now the force from Renzilla with all these Titans can just run through and attack the side of the map. Kosher is going to try to respond with all his Tech 2, and now he has gone Tech 3, he's making Titans, so we could see Titan spam versus Titan spam from these players. This game is looking very unusual now. Both players with very little Tech 1. Well, of course, Kosher still has a lot of leftover Tech 1, but it's going to die pretty soon. And both players just making Titans. In general, Titans are not considered to be as good as Percy's. Looks like Renzilla having power problems. That's probably because he went Tech 3 air. He's attempting to make a strat bomber. Not sure if that's the best idea here, with Kosher definitely able to match him in terms of Titan spam. So like I was saying, Titans are not considered as good as Percy's, but when it's all you can afford, then you're probably going to be in good shape if you can outspam your opponent with Titans. Now I'm sure Renzilla would like to have some ASF to deal with this, but since he's making a strat bomber, there's no hope to have any ASF, of course. Now Renzilla has the shield in his ACU, so he's making energy-hungry stuff all over the place. And there's no... Yeah, he can't have enough energy to support Tech 3 land, Tech 3 air, and the shield on his ACU. Now he's finally going to make some ASF. He's got to hide this, because if Kosher sees it... And this is not the way to hide a Strat Bomber. And in fact, he might even lose it. And if Renzilla loses this Strat Bomber, you could say the game has definitely swung in Kosher's favor. And he's just going to drop a bomb straight into the shield. And all these interceptors will be able to kill it very easily. Renzilla needs to do as much damage to the eco as he can. Kills a bunch of NGs there, but that's not nearly enough to make up for the Strat Bomber. And Renzilla is getting destroyed at his base. Where did all the Titans for Renzilla go? They're back here. They need to be back at base to defend. Looks like Renzilla was able to annihilate them all with his ACU. But Renzilla needs to move his Titans back, and it looks like Kosher has managed to work himself into a very good position after 29 minutes. Here come the Titans to demolish all the Tech 1. If there is one thing Titans are good at, it's killing Tech 1 units, but they're not very good at shooting units that are in the sky. And now Renzilla's going to lose his power and his mass. So I think going for the Strat Bomber was definitely the deciding point in this game. Renzilla went on a gamble, and it did not pay off in the slightest. He spent so much energy on that Strat Bomber, and he didn't make it pay off. So pretty tragic loss for Renzilla. It looked like he had it. I mean, at many points in the game, he played very well early on. He had a great play in the first 10 minutes. And he did very well up until he went Tech 3 air. Not sure what he was thinking with that, because it just allowed Kosher to take air control and then get more map control. Then he actually neglected to build any flag here, so the gunships will actually destroy everything. So the Titans are gonna go back and defend against units that they can't shoot at. That's always a good idea. And this is I mean, what the hell? Renzilla just moves the only units that could save him away, and now he has nothing to defend with. And the superior Titan spam will win for Kosher eventually. Renzilla with 21k health on the ACU, but just so many units everywhere from Kosher. A little bit overwhelming. And now some Strat Bombers from Kosher. He made them at the right time. Renzilla says this is terrible. I have to agree with them. In both games, in both of the 1v1s, the QsQuids looked like they had it in some of the 1v1, in some moments in both 1v1s, but Renzilla says fuck me GG, and he will die, and the Spiderpigs will take a very close series here. They will take 2-1 victory, and they will take the point that they need in order to have a good chance of getting out of their group. But my god, QsQuids put up about as good a fight as you can possibly get. They actually won the 2v2, and then they made Kosher and Voodoo work for their points in the 1v1s, and the final match could not have been better between Renzilla and Kosher, lasting exactly 32 minutes. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this one, and hopefully someone will cast Arma Eisen versus Deathly's Rage, which was also a great series, so hopefully people enjoyed this.